the spotlight tonight is Andrew Hesford from Liverpool, a nurse, and his specialist subject is the life and works of Joe Orton. John Welsh from Blackpool, a software engineer, and his subject, American independent cinema since 1980. John Hubbard from London, an English teacher, and his specialist subject is the trees of the British Isles. And Adam Kirby, also from London, an advertising executive, and his subject is Chelsea Football Club from 1970. Hello, I'm John Humphreys, and welcome to Mastermind, the supreme test of nerve and knowledge. As ever, our contenders will have 2 minutes of questions on their specialist subject and then 2 minutes on general knowledge. Their ultimate aim, of course, to win this glass bowl and to be crowned the nation's mastermind, which is the real prize. So, let's have our first contender, please. And your name is?
Andrew Hesford.
Your occupation?
Nurse.
And your chosen subject?
Life and works of Joe Orton.
Joe Orton, in 2 minutes. What's the name of the council estate in Leicester where Joe Orton was brought up?
Pass.
Which real-life Metropolitan policeman, who was notorious for his zeal in making arrests, was Orton's inspiration when he rewrote the character of Inspector Truscott in Loot?
Pincher of the Yard.
Harold Challoner. In Funeral Games, under what assumed name had Pringle seduced McCorquodale's wife Valerie and several other women?
Pass.
When Buchanan retires after 50 years' service in The Good and Faithful Servant, he's given an electric clock by the firm. What's he given by the men of his department?
Pass.
What was given as Orton's occupation when he and Kenneth Halliwell were prosecuted for stealing and damaging a number of library books in May '62?
Packer.
A lens cleaner. Mr. Sloane says that he has mistaken Kemp for which person whom he describes as trustworthy?
Pass.
In What the Butler Saw, parts of whose statue became embedded in Mrs. Barclay when she's killed in the gas explosion that blows it up?
Churchill.
Yes. In 1958, Orton created which fictitious housewife and began writing letters of complaint on her behalf, including some to the press, attacking Orton's own plays?
Edna Wellthorpe.
Yes. What does Riley tell Erpingham had been causing a disturbance in the toddlers' paddling pool at the beginning of the Erpingham camp?
Pass.
Which author, who died in 1926 and whom Orton described as the only impressionist in the English novel, was a profound influence on his and Halliwell's work?
Fairbank.
Yes. What is the name of the club in The Good and Faithful Servant, which is open to members of both sexes, provided they're old, lonely and ex-members of the staff?
Pass.
What else are killed when Mike murders Wilson at the end of The Ruffian on the Stairs?
Pass.
With whom did Orton take elocution lessons in 1950 in an attempt to improve his stage voice and get rid of his Leicestershire accent?
Rada.
Rothery. Which item belonging to McCorquodale's murdered wife does Tessa recognise, which leads her to discover the body in his cellar?
Pass.
Well, I can tell you, it was her watch, and you had 7 other passes, 8 passes in total. It was the goldfish that were also killed. Bright Hours was the name of the club. 2 plastic ducks had been causing a disturbance. Ferguson was the man Sloane says he had mistaken Kemp for. An electric toaster was the gift from the men of his department. And Bishop Goodhart was the name Pringle assumed. And Orton was born in Saffron Lane Estate. 8 passes altogether. Andrew Hesford, 3 points. And our next contender, please. And your name?
John Welsh.
Your occupation?
Software engineer.
And your chosen subject?
American independent cinema since 1980.
American independent cinema. Which filmmaker lived on nothing but McDonald's food for a month in the documentary Super Size Me?
Morgan Spurlock.
Collect. Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez directed which 1999 film for around $25,000? It made more than $100 million at the box office.
The Blair Witch Project.
Yes, in Reservoir Dogs, what's the full name of the character played by Lawrence Tierney who assembles the gang of robbers?
Pass.
Which 1998 Wes Anderson film tells the story of failing high school student Max Fisher's unrequited love for a teacher?
Rushmore.
Yes, in the 2004 film Sideways, who plays Jack, who's making his final trip to the Californian wine country before getting married?
Paul Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church. What's the title of the script that Adolfo Rollo is trying to have filmed in Alexander Rockwell's 1992 film In the Soup?
Pass.
What is the name of the 6-foot rabbit who tells Donnie Darko that the world's about to end and encourages him to commit various criminal acts?
Pass.
Which 1988 docudrama directed by Errol Morris investigated the murder of a Dallas policeman and helped to overturn the conviction of the man who'd been imprisoned for the murder?
Thin Blue Line.
Yes, apart from the fact that it takes place in 5 countries simultaneously, what's distinctive about the location of the action in Jim Jarmusch's film Night on Earth?
They're all set in taxis.
Yes. In Being John Malkovich, what's the main occupation of John Cusack's character Craig Schwartz, although he takes extra work as a filing clerk?
Puppeteer. Yes.
Which Wim Wenders documentary showed guitarist Ry Cooder reuniting a band of veteran Cuban musicians?
Buena Vista Social Club.
Yes, in Whit Stillman's Metropolitan, the group of privileged urban haute bourgeoisie with whom Tom Townsend becomes involved call themselves by what name?
Oobs. Or the Sally Fisher Rat Pack.
No, the Sally Fowler Rat Pack. Which award-winning 1999 film is based on the true story of Tina Brandon, who passed herself off as a man called Brandon Tina?
Boys Don't Cry.
Correct. In Bowling for Columbine, which film star says that he's loaded guns in his house because he's exercising one of the rights passed on down to me from those wise old dead white guys that invented this country?
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston it was. You had 3 passes. The name of the 6-foot rabbit was Frank. Unconditional Surrender was the title of the script Adolfo Rollo was trying to have filmed. And in Reservoir Dogs, the full name of the Tierney character was Joe Cabot. 3 passes, John Welsh, 9 points. And our next contender, please. And your name?
John Hubbard.
Your occupation?
English teacher.
And your chosen subject?
Trees of the British Isles.
Trees of the British Isles. Which hybrid tree is believed to have originated in Oxford around 1670 has proved ideal for growing in the polluted air of cities?
The London Plane.
Yes, the dense yellowish wood of which evergreen species has long been prized for its suitability for woodblock engraving was frequently used by Thomas Buick.
You.
The box. What is the name of the serious fungal disease of oak trees, which was only identified in the early 1990s and has also been found to affect viburnums and rhododendrons in Britain?
Pass.
The wood of which deciduous tree was commonly used in the construction of water pipes and sea defences because of its resistance to decay in water?
Alder.
The elm. Which oak is a cross between the Turkey and Cork oaks and is named after the Exeter nurseryman who first raised it in the 1760s?
Pass.
Which wood has traditionally been used to make English longbows because of its combination of strength and elasticity?
You.
Yes, the catkins of which tree appear as early as January and are known as lamb's tails in country areas?
Hazel.
Yes, which tree was famously cultivated by the Dukes of Athol at Dunkeld, the town that gave its name to a hybrid version of the species?
Pass.
What is the common name for the winged fruits of the ash tree which usually hang in bunches?
Keys.
Yes, what's the alternative common name for the sessile oak?
The Durmast oak.
Yes, the Lythe and Winster valleys of southern Lakeland are particularly renowned for which fruit trees?
Sorry, could you repeat the
The
question?
Lythe and Winster valleys of southern Lakeland are particularly renowned for which fruit trees?
Pass.
Which devastating fungal disease carried by a beetle killed millions of mature trees in Britain in the 1970s?
Dutch elm disease.
Yes, which native member of the Sorbus genus has leaves resembling those of a maple and bears fruit that are known as checkers in southern England?
The wild service tree.
Yes, the sticky substance known as birdlime, which used to be smeared on branches to capture small birds, was most commonly made from the bark of which tree?
Pass.
The wild cherry tree Prunus avium and which other species of cherry are native to Britain?
Prunus pardus.
Yes. What term is used for trees including the majority of hollies and yews in which the male and female flowers are found on separate specimens of the same species?
Pass.
Well, I can tell you that one. It is the dioecious. And your other passes, that sticky substance comes from the holly tree. It's the damson. The Lythe and Winster valleys are renowned for. The Dunkeld larch was cultivated by the Dukes of Athol. Luckham oak is a cross between Turkey and Cork oaks. And sudden oak death was the name of that awful fungal disease. 6 passes. John Hubbard, 8 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Adam Kirby,
Your occupation?
advertising executive.
And your chosen subject?
The history of Chelsea Football Club from 1970 to the current day.
Chelsea Football Club in 2 minutes. Which Chelsea player scored the fastest ever goal in a Wembley final after 43 seconds of the 97 FA Cup final?
Roberto Di Matteo.
Correct. Who was the club's manager when they won promotion back to the First Division in 77?
Eddie McCready.
Yes. Who were their opponents on Boxing Day 1999 when Chelsea became the first English league club to field an entire team of overseas players?
Southampton.
Yes. Which Yugoslav goalkeeper was the first overseas player to receive the Chelsea Player of the Year award in 1981?
Peter Barotta.
Yes. Against which club did Peter Osgood score a hat-trick during Chelsea's successful 1970 FA Cup campaign, when he also became the last player to score in every round?
Burnley.
QPR. Which striker was signed by Chelsea for £10 million but only managed to score 3 goals in 39 appearances for the
Chris
club?
Sutton.
Yes. In which city near Athens is the Georgios Karaskakis Stadium, where Chelsea beat Real Madrid in the 71 European Cup Winners' Cup final after a replay?
Piraeus.
Yes. For how much money did Ken Bates buy Chelsea in 1982?
£1.
Yes. What was the name of the training ground that Chelsea left in December 2004 when they moved to their new facility at Cobham, Surrey?
Harlington.
Yes. Gianfranco Zola signed for Chelsea from which Italian club in '96 for a fee of £4.5 million?
Parma.
Yes. In the 2004-05 season, how many clean sheets did Chelsea keep in league matches, setting a new Premiership record?
27.
25. From which Scottish club did they sign Steve Clarke in '87? He later became an assistant coach to Jose Mourinho.
Morton.
St Mirren. Which player captained Chelsea on a record 324 occasions?
Chopper Harris.
Yes. In the 93-94 season, which player helped Chelsea achieve a league double over Manchester United by scoring the only goal in each game?
Gavin Peacock.
Correct. From which club did Nigel Spackman rejoin Chelsea in '92, having been sold to Liverpool in '87?
Rangers.
Yeah. Who was the only Chelsea player in the England squad at the '98 World Cup finals in France?
Pass.
In which position did Chelsea finish in the old second division table in '82-83? It was their lowest ever league placing.
18th.
18th it was, and your pass, it was Graham Lasso, who was the only Chelsea player in that England squad. 1 pass, Adam Kirby, 13 points. So that's the first round, the specialist round. Let's have a look at the scores. And in 4th place with 3 points, Andrew Hesford. In 3rd place with 8 points, John Hubbard. 2nd place with 9 points, John Welsh. In the lead with 13 points, Adam Kirby. So let's move to our general knowledge round now, and if there's a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes get taken into account. Let me ask Andrew Hesford to join us again, if he would, please. And I know as you walk over, you'll be kicking yourself. It's one of those things, isn't it?
It's an amazing thing. I mean, I face people every day in my working life, and I'm facing one person. I'm terrified.
Obviously, it's Joe Orton doing something to you, because he was a pretty wicked sort of bloke
He was a
himself,
kind of malevolent
wasn't he?
bloke, wasn't he?
I mean, that business about, we had a question about it, I think, defacing library books.
Yeah, and apparently there's a publisher who used to publish books in yellow dust jackets. And what he and Halliwell did was they actually borrowed these books from Islington Public Library and typed blurbs, which unfortunately I can't repeat on family television. And it ended up whereby, a kind of irony, these are actually amongst the most valuable books in the Islington Public Library collection.
But he went to jail for it.
He did, admittedly, I mean, for 6 months. But then when he came out, he actually told people that he'd been in jail for something worse, you know, for something like robbery or GBH.
Well, there we are. You've got 3 points, so let's see if you can do a bit better in your
I hope so.
general knowledge. Here we go. Which butterfly is so called because the large eye-like spots on its wings resemble those on the tail of the bird whose name it shares?
Pass.
Which planet was hit by fragments of the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 in July 1994?
Neptune.
Jupiter. In the '97 film Titanic, who plays Jack Dawson, a young pauper who won his place on the ship in a poker game?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes. Which village near Coventry claims that the medieval cross on its village green marks the centre of England?
Pass.
Which politician, best remembered for a bizarre disappearing act, was the last British Postmaster General before the title was abolished in 1969?
John Stonehouse.
Yes. What was the nationality of the composer Bela Bartok?
Hungarian.
Yes, which small freshwater fish, often kept in aquariums, is named after the Trinidadian clergyman who sent the first specimen to the British Museum in about 1866?
Pass.
Which novel by Evelyn Waugh was adapted for television in 1981 and starred Jeremy Irons and Anthony Andrews?
Brad's Head Revisited.
Yes, what name is given to thin slices of beef that have been rolled around a filling and simmered in beef stock or wine?
Bourguignon.
Beef olives. Which New Zealand city was founded in 1848 as a settlement of the Free Church of Scotland?
Wellington.
Dunedin. Which disease of the central nervous system damages the nerve fibre insulation myelin in a random manner, causing a wide range of neurological defects?
Multiple sclerosis.
Yes. What Italian word meaning an entanglement is used in English for an extremely complicated or embarrassing situation?
Fracas.
Imbroglio. The works of which American novelist who lived from 1843 to 1916 include Washington Square and The Ambassadors?
Pass.
At which stately home, the seat of the Dukes of Beaufort, have the three-day eventing horse trials been held since 1949?
Pass.
The hardy herbaceous plant Rudbeckia hirta is popularly known by what name because of its large, dark, raised centre?
Pass.
Which James Bond actor was set to make his musical theatre debut in Aspects of Love? I'll finish the question, but left the production because of his concerns over his singing ability.
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore it was. You passed on the herbaceous plant. It was Black-Eyed Susan. Badminton, stately home of the Dukes. Henry James rode Washington Square and the Ambassadors. Guppy is the name of that little fish. Merredon, near Coventry, is the centre of England, apparently. And it was the peacock butterfly, because it looks a bit like a peacock. 6
knew
passes.
that,
Andrew Hesford, a total of 9 points.
Thank you.
And now, John Hubbard, please. It's a whopping subject, the trees of the British Isles.
Yes.
What's the oldest native tree?
There's a yew in a village in Wales called Llangernew, and this tree is reckoned to be anything up to 5,000 years old.
But there's an English tree that's reckoned to be a couple of thousand years old, isn't there?
Yeah, there's at Westonbirt Arboretum in Gloucestershire, there's lime coppices, and they're reckoned to be 2,000 years old.
But have you seen them?
Yes, I have.
There's not
yeah.
much left, is there?
No, it's rather disappointing. You go along expecting to see a magnificent tree, and all you see is basically a lot of thin sticks sticking out of the ground. So you've got to be into it to be impressed by that.
Right, let's see how you get on with general knowledge. You have 8 points so far. Which North American brown bear is sometimes known as the silver tip?
The grizzly?
Yes. Which manservant has been played on television by Dennis Price and, more recently, Stephen Fry?
Jeeves.
Yes. What's the name of the 250-metre high volcanic plug that rises about a mile east of Edinburgh city centre?
Arthur's Seat.
Yes. With which hometown club did Gary Lineker begin his professional football career?
Leicester City.
Yes. In music, which word describing a brilliant or daring performance comes from the Italian for spirit or skill?
Bravura.
Yes. Who was the British Prime Minister at the time of the abdication of Edward VIII in 1936?
Pass.
Which hard yellow Italian cheese has to be matured for at least 2 years and until 1984 could only be made from April to November?
Parmesan.
Yes. Which lawyer detective is the central character in The Case of the Velvet Claws and many other novels by Earl Stanley Gardner, who was himself legally trained?
Pass.
What name is given to the armed insurrection against British rule that started in Dublin in April 1916?
The Easter Rising.
Yes. Which British singer-songwriter had his first UK #1 hit single in the year 2000 with the track Fill Me In, taken from his album Born to Do It?
Pass.
Which Russian author had to refuse the 1958 Nobel Prize for Literature because of political pressure?
Pass.
AM and FM are two methods of broadcasting radio programmes. What does AM stand for?
Amplitude modulation.
Yes. Which popular song of the Second World War was based on a poem called The Song of a Young Sentry, written by the German soldier Hans Leip?
Pass.
Which controversial speaker who was given permission to visit Britain in 2001 after a 15-year ban became the leader of the black separatist movement, the Nation of Islam, in 1978?
Louis Farrakhan.
Yes. Who is the wife of the film producer Blake Edwards and the star of many of his films?
Pass.
Which word for the walking undead was originally the name of a god in West African voodoo cults?
Zombie.
Yes. By what name do English cricketers refer to the supposedly unlucky score, start, start, finish, of 111?
Pass.
Well, it's Nelson, I can tell you that because we're out of time. Your other pass is Julie Andrews. Dame Julie Andrews is Blake Edwards' wife. Lily Marlena was the popular song based on that poem. Boris Pasternak had to refuse the Nobel Prize. Craig David was the songwriter with Fill Me In, etc. Perry Mason was the lawyer, and Stanley Baldwin was Prime Minister at the time of the abdication. As you obviously knew, but just couldn't remember. 7 passes, John Hubbard, 18 points. And now John Welsh, please. American independent cinema, though everybody says indie cinema, don't they? Define it. What is it? What is independent cinema?
Well, it will tend to look rougher than a Hollywood thing. It will tend not to have the same tension and resolution that a Hollywood film plot would have. The dialogue tends to go more round and round in circles rather than being plot-serving. The Quentin Tarantino dialogue is classic indie dialogue.
And then occasionally you get something like the Blair Witch Project. Tell us about that one.
Well, Myrick and Sanchez made it themselves out in the woods with non-professional actors. It cost, a few tens of thousands of dollars and made $265 million worldwide.
That's quite a good return, really, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting subject. Right, 9 points. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. Here we go. In which television game show are members of the audience invited to come on down and guess the cost of retail items?
The Price is Right.
Yes. Which city, renowned for its sword making, was the capital of Spain until 1560?
Toledo.
Yes. What was the name of the imaginary island described by Sir Thomas More in his political essay of 1516?
Utopia.
Yes. Matthew Brady, born in about 1823 at Lake George, New York State, is particularly renowned for his photographic record of which conflict?
The American Civil War.
Correct. At which horse racing venue are there 2 racetracks, the Rowley Mile Course and the July Course, which are separated by the Devil's Dyke?
Newmarket.
Yes. What's the common British name of the plant Convolvulus arvensis, a troublesome garden pest whose creeping roots can extend many feet underground?
Chickweed.
Bindweed. Which Russian dramatist's works include the plays The Seagull and The Cherry Orchard?
Chekhov.
Yep. Which dignitaries of the Roman Catholic Church have a name derived from the Latin for hinge, possibly because of the pivotal role they play?
Cardinal.
Yes. In September 1978, the Bulgarian defector Georgy Markov was killed in London after being stabbed with a poisoned what?
Umbrella.
Yes. Of the 7 spectral colours that make up the rainbow, which is at the centre?
Green.
Yes. Which island is divided between 3 countries, Indonesia, Malaysia and the Sultanate of Brunei?
Java.
Borneo. Who became King of England in September 1422 when he was only 9 months old, and about 7 weeks later was proclaimed King of France?
Henry II.
Henry VI. In ancient Egyptian religion, Hathor, the goddess of the sky, women and love, was often depicted with the head of which animal?
A jackal.
A cow. Which work by George Gershwin was first performed by Paul Whiteman's orchestra in 1924 at a concert entitled An Experiment in Modern Music?
Porgy and Bess.
Rhapsody in Blue. What is the most abundant metallic element in the human body?
Iron.
Calcium. Which author and former jockey's detective stories include Risk and Hot Money?
Dick Francis.
Yes. In which abbey in Devon I'll finish the question, do Benedictine monks make a tonic wine using a secret recipe brought over from France?
Buckfast.
Buckfast Abbey is correct. No passes. John Welsh, you have 20 points. And finally, Adam Kirby, please. Chelsea Football Club, but let's talk about your job instead.
Funnily enough, when I'm at work, it's always the other way around.
Which doesn't tell you anything about my interest in sport. You're an advertising executive. What's the point of advertising?
The point of advertising is to prosper the economy. It's to encourage people to stay loyal to brands, to buy more of brands, to pay more for brands, to, generally speaking, think better or more differently about stuff that we're trying to advertise.
There are ethics in your
Of course there are ethics,
trade?
yes. Legal, decent, honest and truthful. So all advertising must cleave to those 4 pillars. I used to work for an agency that would never advertise children's toys, believing that it engendered amongst kids unnecessary, the so-called pester power. And that children are incapable of, if you like, divining the difference between children's editorial and advertising and so forth. It's a vexed area which you've alighted upon and which you've nailed me on.
Right. We'll settle for that. You've got 13 points. 20 points is the score you have to beat. Let's see if you can do it with your general knowledge. Here we go. Who headed the military government that ruled Chile from 1973 to 1990?
Pinochet.
Yes. Which dual fighting hero is tragically killed at the end of Alexander Dumas' book, The Man in the Iron Mask?
Pass.
Which 18th century composer's opera, Alcina, was revived by Franco Zeffirelli with Joan Sutherland in the title role?
Pass.
What type of television signal will be gradually switched off from about 2008 and replaced with a digital signal?
Analogue
Yes.
signal.
Which popular white wine made from Sauvignon Blanc grapes comes from the other side of the River Loire to Pouilly-Fumé?
Pouilly-Fusé.
Sancerre. In Greek mythology, what creatures did the sorceress Circe turn Odysseus's companions into?
Pass.
In which English city is there a street called the Land of Green Ginger?
Sheffield.
Hull. For work on which antibiotic did Ernest Chain, Howard Florey and Sir Alexander Fleming receive the 1945 Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine?
Penicillin.
Yes. Whose poem Lycidas, written in 1637, appeared in a collection of elegies dedicated to Edward King, a fellow student at Cambridge?
Gray.
Milton. Which television series about MI5 stars Peter Firth as Harry Pierce, the head of the counter-terrorism department?
Spooks.
Yes. Which political party folded in June 1990 after polling 155 votes at a by-election in Bootle and finishing behind the monster raving loony party?
The STP.
Yes. What relation was King Charles II to King James II, who succeeded him in 1685?
Brother.
Yes. Which word imported into early Christian liturgy and meaning save, we pray, was used by the crowds welcoming Jesus into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday?
Pass.
Which rock star founded a recording company and publishing company in the 1970s that were both named after Eel Pie Island in the Thames?
Pete Townsend.
Yes. Who came second in the Brazilian Grand Prix in October 2006 to retain the Formula One Drivers' Championship?
Montoya.
Alonso. In 1961, which artist married Jacqueline Rock, who was the muse and inspiration for nearly all his later works?
Pass.
I can tell you in that case, because you're out of time, it was Picasso. And your other pass is Hosanna, is what Save We Pray was shouted as. Those creatures were turned into swine or pigs. Handel was the 18th century composer, Alcina. And D'Artagnan died at the end of The Man in the Iron Mask. 5 passes, Adam Kirby, 20 points. Well, it got to be pretty close at the end, so let me remind you before we look at the scores of the Mastermind rules, which say that if the scores are tied, then the person with the fewest passes is the winner. So, with that in mind, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 9 points is Andrew Hesford. 3rd place with 18 points, John Hubbard. 2nd place with 20 points and 6 passes, Adam Kirby. In 1st place with 20 points and 3 passes, John Welsh. So that means, of course, that John Welsh goes through to the next round. Congratulations to him. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.